Hello, guys. So, I will be talking about Star Wars The New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and The Return of the Jedi, and how we could really see the Campbell's journey of the hero myth play a huge role throughout the films, as well as in each individual film. For this vlog, I will be focusing on the trilogy, the three movies collectively. So, we could first take a look. About the myth itself and what it consists of. So it has these three steps: the departure, the return. Oh, sorry, the departure, the separation, and the return, which all have their own kind of set of subunits. To start off with the departure, we can first see the Call of Adventure, and this is where Princess Leia sends his holograph to Obi-Wan, and Luke so happens to be next to Obi-Wan Kenobi. um, which this instantly we see this instant shift of the pertaining to the refusal of the call as Obi turns to Luke after getting the message saying you have to join you have to train and learn about the Force. Um, and this is then we go ahead and see this contemplation from Luke whether to stay home and help his family with the farming and stuff like that. But then once he hears of his uncle, I believe it was his aunt Beru and Uncle Owen. Once they see him die, he kind of goes on that mission. Um, Obi-Wan Kenobi, we could also see him as a supernatural aid, as well as Yoda when he's teaching him about the Dark Force and training with the lightsabers. So pertaining to Obi-Wan, we often see this in the myth. We often see this experienced hero finds that he really can't proceed without, I guess, the guidance or the supernatural aid um, in the form of a wise guide or someone who provides assistance to them. In the New Hope, we see Obi-Wan Kenobi actually save him from the Tusken Raiders, and we see Luke cross, I guess, this threshold, this next subunit of the departure. After, like I was saying, after the death of his Uncle Owen and his Aunt Beru, um, he is then reluctant to follow Han Solo as they escape uh, Tatooine in the Millennium Falcon, and then we could also see that play a big role as the crossing of the first threshold. And like I said, Yoda also plays a big role in as a supernatural aid, and the Force as the guide that helps Luke become this powerful Jedi as we see him develop in the stories. To then jump into the initiation, this first subunit is kind of like the road of trial and is evident throughout Luke's practice as when he's training with the lightsabers and as he learns his, I guess, way with the Force, committing and actually diving completely in to the training of becoming a Jedi. Uh, excuse me. Let's see here. Um, then we jump into the meeting of the goddess, which would be quite obvious to some that it's Princess Leia when they go to when Luke and Han Solo kind of try to save her from the cell. Luke walks in and says, hey, he's here to save her. His first initial contact with the goddess, Princess Leia. And this kind of parallels a fairy tale structure, which involves a hero, the princess, and a monster. This Star Wars conveys the Death Star as a monster per se, and then Luke obviously as a hero. And in the in in the first film, we see kind of Han Solo and Luke kind of in the uniforms of the stormtroopers to kind of get to Princess Leia. And the interesting part about Star Wars is that usually within this traditional monster hero princess, the princess is usually, I guess, hopeless per se in history, but the Star Wars saga, doesn't really portray her as this hopeless princess, and she actually later becomes, throughout the film, this heroine of herself. And then the temptation for the true path could be seen when Luke is tempted to turn to the dark side, Here's this kind of battle with his father, Darth Vader, and this kind of when it ends his battle, he kind of cuts his own father's hand off, and then once that happens, he actually has a chance to kill him. But then the Emperor's in the back saying, "Come on to the dark side, come join me by my side. You know, kill your father and replace him." But he chooses not to. But then upon that decision, the Emperor actually attempts to kill him, and then you see Darth Vader right there behind him, kind of carry him, throw him over the edge. Um, so that's his whole refusal. Or we see the let's see, yeah. So this is where we see the Emperor tell him to replace his father. Luke refuses after he's being tortured, and then the Emperor gets thrown off the ring by Darth Vader. This parallels the myth perfectly, as usually it consists of this father figure that has a life or death sort of power, which is evident as we see him actually controlling the destiny of the Emperor. And then there's this throughout the myth of a hero, we see the hero kind of become godlike, and it parallels when Luke finally becomes a Jedi, and he's training, and he's actually become this powerful, forceful Jedi, and this happens when he actually refuses to go to the dark side and refuses to kill his father. And the ultimate boon could be carried out when the ultimate, which is basically the ultimate destruction of the Death Star by Luke, when he's in the X-wings, kind of flying there and destroying the monster of the Greek myth, which kind of wraps that up and then takes us into the return of the hero. And this is quite simple. This is when the hero's ready to return home. He's actually proven his worth through some sort of brave action, I guess, per se, or some dangerous trials, which we see very evident with Luke. So now Luke has rescued the princess, he's destroyed the Death Star, and he's learned his way of the Forces. His return, his ultimate, I guess, goal. And then Luke is then seen to return to his homeland with the body of his father, kind of insinuating this ultimate accomplishment, fulfilling his life goal per se. And then we could also see this dance carnival. There's just like the absolute fulfillment of his journey as a hero. That's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed that. Till next time.